Hi. Now before I talk about vendor-to-vendor sales at conventions, I wanted to talk to you about a comic series that I think is awesome and especially rad if you like action, adventure, romance comics. And that sounds like kind of a weird thing. But anyway, this is Thor the Mighty Avenger, and it was recommended to me by Yuko and Ananth. They both loved the series and they thought I would get a kick out of it. So I picked it up right away, and sure enough, I fucking love it. And I'm kind of sad because it was a 8-issue miniseries, and they stopped it after 8 issues. But they're collected in 2 trades. You can get these on Amazon, or better yet, go to your local comic book shop and check out the kids section, because that's where I found these. But it's sort of like a retelling of Marvel's Thor, about how he, was sent to Midgard, Earth, and had to, figure out why he was there, what the lesson was that Odin is trying to teach him, but also what it means to be human. And he meets up with Jane Foster, and there's a budding romance. And it's, as somebody who writes a romance, office romance comedy, I'm kind of a sucker for romance comics, and it's great because you get the romance and you get the action, and it's a really great package. The artwork is amazing, the writing is great. It feels like one of those timeless comics that you could pick up 20 years from now, 30 years from now, and it would still be relevant because the storytelling is just that tight and that good. So it's not in regular Marvel continuity. It kind of follows along the movie continuity, but it's kind of like a different take on it. Like, what if Thor didn't really get a chance to go back to Asgard? What if he had to stay on Earth with Jane Foster for more than 2 hours? So it's a really great take. I highly suggest you pick it up. I'm gonna put some links in the show notes so that you can pick it up on Amazon, but you really should go to a fucking comic book store. Alright, so vendor to vendor sales, or exhibitor to exhibitor sales. Now it's been a couple weeks. It's been 2 weeks. Has it been 2 weeks? 2 or 3 weeks? Anyway, it's been a couple weeks since Webcomics Con, and I've had a chance to talk to some of my friends, and one of my friends who did extremely well, like more better, more better, extremely well, a lot better than he thought he would at the convention. He was talking to me about most of his sales were with other exhibitors. And I thought that was kind of interesting because that's an audience that I don't normally target when I go to a show. Like, I'm usually in my corner, and I'll talk to my table neighbors and stuff like that. And actually, my table neighbor for Webcomics Con was Sarah O'Donnell, and she does this comic called Rumbirds, which is really cute. It's a kind of a detective comic, but I really like her style, and I meant to talk about this last time. But anyway, I'll link this up in the show notes too. This is her mini comic that has the first chapter of her webcomic and stuff. Anyway, yeah, so I was talking to my friend Mikey Bracco, and he made a lot of his sales from other exhibitors at that show. And we had a super art fight on Saturday, and he just walked around booth to booth talking to people, and telling them, hey, we're doing the super art fight thing. Oh, what's this you got there? And he would talk to them about, ask them questions about their stuff, and flip through their thing. And some of the people would ask, oh, hey, are you exhibiting here this weekend? And he'd be like, oh yeah, I'm over here. And he would just keep focusing on whoever he was talking to, which is great. Like, Mikey's really good at making that personal connection with absolute strangers. And a lot of those people that he talked with after the show, after we did our super art fight, they would come up to his booth later and check out his stuff. And Mikey's stuff is really good for just browsing through and saying, oh, this is fucking cool. And he's got a few high-priced, high-ticket items that go really well. And so I think it really works for his kind of merchandise where you don't already have to buy into sort of like a storyline or an existing fan base. It's just really cool artwork. And if you're selling to other artists and other exhibitors, they'll appreciate that kind of product more than maybe somebody walking in from the street. So he did a lot of sales that weekend, vendor to vendor. Well, vendor to vendor. And I thought about it, and there's another one of my friends, Jim Brown, who does props with Morlock Enterprises. And he does the same kind of thing. A lot of his sales at conventions are with other vendors. And it's a little different for Jim. He does a lot of props. And like goggles, for a while he was doing Naruto headbands, the really high quality metal ones with the cloth and stuff. So if you've probably seen him around if you've done the anime con circuit. His stuff has been around. He's doing a lot more steampunk related prop items and things like that. But because he can produce in bulk, he's made deals with a lot of other vendors to sell them a number of units at wholesale, and then they can sell it at cons. So he's done a lot of vendor-to-vendor business on that end, like wholesaling. Mikey's done a lot of vendor-to-vendor business with individual sales and things like that. So it's a different target market that you never really hear about unless you're on the other side. And so I think this is this if you've got a product that would work, that you think would appeal to other artists, like I don't know, maybe high quality prints, or maybe like custom toys, something like handmade toys or something like that. Making personal connections with other vendors and having them come by your table and checking out your stuff. It's tricky. You can't really hard sell them. You can't say, "Oh, hi, why don't you come over to my table and check out my shit?" But you can, make that personal connection. And really, conventions are all about meeting people and getting to know people. And so, you see somebody doing cool stuff, have a chat with them. Maybe you pick up something, and they might come by your table and check out your stuff. And if they like what they see, they might pick up something of yours. It doesn't always happen that way, but it doesn't have to happen that way. It's those personal connections again. That's really important when you're getting your stuff out there and meeting people and doing the circuits. Those connections are almost more important than sales, because even if you don't sell anything, getting known on the circuit, making those connections, that'll just help build your audience and build your I don't know, get your shit out there better. So it's something to think about for anybody who goes to a convention. Don't just sit at your table and be happy and cheerful. Try to spend some time walking around, meet some of your fellow exhibitors. Who knows, you might get some sales out of it. You might get some long-lasting friendships out of it, So, get out there. You're going to be in the same room for a couple hours. Might as well make some friends. So, that'll do it for this time. Don't forget to go out and pick up these books. They're fucking awesome. Marvel, you need to do more of this stuff. DC, you need to do more of this stuff, Fuck the 52. Do some really good comics. I'll check you next time. Bye.